The blended retirement system is a new program in the military, and a lot of people don't understand how it's going to work. Part of that reason is because there's different parts of it. There's a blended retirement, the annuity that you get, there's TSP, which is the Thrift Savings Plan, there's continuation pay that you get at a certain point in your career. So what I'm going to do over a period of time is take different parts of it and try to explain it. Now, I know if you're a participating reservist, you're getting information from the Department of Defense, but to a certain degree, DOD is bound by explaining it according to the parameters of the law, as opposed to maybe think of it as being able to explain of where it can go or what the possibilities are or how it can execute in your life. So I'm going to try to get maybe more away from how you would get information from DOD and get information that maybe DOD can't or won't cover for one reason or another. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about the fact that the blended retirement system gives every service member a chance to build a retirement annuity. So if you've been in for any amount of time, you know that in order to get a retirement annuity under the old plan, you had to stay until you reached 20 years or more. Unfortunately, 20%, 17% or fewer people actually stay that long. So what happens is you have, given anywhere from 6 years to 12 years of time, you leave the service and you don't have a retirement plan. So then you're going to be going out, scrambling, finding a civilian position that will give you a retirement plan, in part that will help you make up for those 12 years you missed establishing one while you're in the military. So the blended retirement system helps to bring the military retirement program more in line with how industry is going. The reason this is important is because now when you get out, you have a chance to be on par with your peers as to where they are with their retirement plan. So because we only had 20% that earned it, the nice thing about this is now we have that 80% who didn't have a retirement. So 100% of the people can have a retirement plan under the military if they so choose. And that will be at least the part through the Thrift Savings Plan. What happened is when Congress made the change to the old plan, you used to get 50% retirement or more when you left after 20 years. So in order to make the different parts of the blended retirement, they took a portion of that out. So now you earn 40%. You don't, in essence, lose the 10%. What they've done is they've translated it into a different way of earning that 10%. So part of that, obviously, is the Thrift Savings Plan. And as you know, what DOD is going to do under what Congress passed is they're going to match your Thrift Savings Plan's funds up to 5%. So think of it as, somebody, you're walking down the street, somebody gives you $500 if they say, well, I'll give you $500 if you have $500. That doesn't really happen in real life, but with the Thrift Savings Plan, that's basically what they're saying is, if you put money in, they're going to match it up to 5%. And then that means you're working with somebody else's money, because the nice thing about the Thrift Savings Plan, unlike the old military retirement, is this is the first time you can basically take part of what would be a retirement annuity and put it into a vehicle where you can earn a profit. So I retired under the old plan. There is no way that any part of that is earning a profit like what you can do under the Thrift Savings Plan. Now, I know, because this was talked about a lot when BRS came out, I know that the market goes down. And so people say, yeah, you're only going to earn a profit as long as the market's up. So what I did is I pulled the history of the Thrift Savings Plan to see how did it perform over the period of time that it's been around, when it had the down periods and then the periods that came back up. And what they found is, yes, we did have down periods even in the Thrift Savings Plan, but what happened is it always came back up, and eventually as you looked at that over the years, that spread over the years, is you still saw an increase in the earnings of their stock there, even though you had down periods. So I remember when I left the military and retired, I went to work for the Department of Veterans Affairs. So it just so happened when I went to work for VA, the market was down. And I remember when I in-processed and I got the TSP, or the Thrift Savings Plan that they had, which was a matching, I ended up filling it out and I turned it in with all my other in-processing paperwork. And it was probably about a week or so later, and I got a call from personnel, and they said, you know, we're calling you about your Thrift Savings Plan election. I'm like, oh, okay. What did you need to know? Well, we think you filled it out wrong because you said you wanted this much money taken out of your pay every pay period. And because the market's down, we really think you meant that it should come out that much once a month. And I said, no. I really do want that much money taken out of each pay period, because think about it, when a market is down and stocks are down, you're buying more stock. So then when the market goes up, you have more stock that's going to be earning a profit. So they had a hard time understanding that, but by the time I left VA to come to ROA, I have to say that even for the short period of time, because I invested in a down market, because I invested up to matching, I was able to walk away with quite a bit. I did have a 401k type of program. It wasn't TSP when I was younger, and I have to say the TSP or the Thrift Savings Plan, and then the prior one, I bought houses with that money. I was able to borrow against those and buy a house, and then basically I just paid myself back. So there's a lot that can be done with a TSP account that I think, one, you should look into to see what it can get for you, and two, just tell yourself that you're going to invest up the 5% no matter what. I know that sounds like a lot, especially when you're younger. I mean, I was a single parent, and I thought there's no way I could ever invest in stock. But I swore if I didn't start somewhere, I never would. So I took $50 a month to invest. And what I found, though, is because there's a certain tax shelter that occurs with 401k, I didn't lose $50. I only lost a percentage because of the tax shelter. So when you are looking at deciding how much money that you might want to do, or how much a 5% match will cost, just know it's not a dollar for dollar. So you end up not having to pay as much as you did before, and then further down the road you get more benefits from that. The other thing that I like about the BRS, the blended retirement, and being able to put money in your TSP is, even for someone like me who retired under the old system, I cannot will my military retirement to my children. I'm not married. If I was, then I could or couldn't choose to do it to my spouse. But with TSP, I can will any or all of it to my children. I can will it to my estate. I could will it to my nieces and nephews. In other words, unlike the military retirement, I can keep part of it in my estate and will it. Under Survivor Benefit Plan, I wouldn't have been able to do that because my children were grown. So that wouldn't have helped me at all, because if you don't have a designated dependent, then Survivor Benefit doesn't help. So the TSP part of BRS is nice because you can keep it in your estate and you can will it wherever you want. That's about it for on this one. I will hopefully cover more as we go. BRS, I will say, the blended retirement system was a big program. And one of the things that we have found is that when Congress passes a big program, we really don't know how it's going to affect things until it starts executing. So as we have now started BRS, and as we go forward, we'll start finding out more and more about how it's going to work and how we may need to tweak it. That's it. Thanks.